I'd like to call the rec committee meeting to order at 6:37 on Monday, August 19th. We'll now do the members present, starting from your end, working this way.
All right, I am Daniel Jones.
Mary Anastasia.
Michael Kretsch.
John Regan.
Dave Broll.
Mark Sam.
Cindy Courier, COA liaison.
We have to confirm methods, completed ethics and open meeting training laws. I assume I have. I went through and I got a little,
I have to double check to make sure all mine have gone through, but
yeah.
If you haven't done it, please get it done in a timely manner.
Yeah, it's just, you go on, I think it's like 1.5 hours, a half hour or 10 minutes. It's pretty simple.
Where are they found, the links?
It should be at the town
Clerk's office.
town clerk's office, we'll have it.
Yeah.
So just to bring, so does he?
Did you read,
Everyone.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that everyone, did you, when you first signed the book, did they tell you to read and to do open meeting law stuff?
I was not to my memory, but.
Okay. It's something you should do. It's basically talking about ethics and
So
open
it's
meeting
on-
law, who has to be around, how many people with a group, and how we can run a meeting and when we can't.
All right, cool.
Everyone's signed the, what's this, signed document for financial. I do not know.
Every year, we should be signing a document authorizing our primary treasurer, for lack of a better term, and an alternative
Oh, yes.
for the person to sign any of the invoices or warrants so that the bills can be paid. In the past, it has been Mary. I would ask that Mary continue that responsibility.
And it's Courtney was the backup, is that right?
Backup, I know that there's a lot on her plate right now.
Okay.
And Mike would be, I think would be a great backup if that's willing for you, and Mary, you
Awesome.
train.
Happy to help.
If you can sign your names up here where it says who's doing it, I'll sign it to say we will vote on it, we all sign it, and then it will go to the town accountant so that it's on record.
Mhm.
So I make the motion that Mary and Michael are two individuals who are authorized to sign the financial documents on behalf of the Recreation Committee.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
There we go. Excellent. So I signed it, and today's date is
The 19th.
still?
Still.
God, I was the same way this morning. And Mary, you just sign here, and then the two individuals up here, that would be great, and I'll drop it off. That's done.
I haven't signed it, you can take, unfortunately.
I want to do that.
I don't,
I need to go back to my car.
okay.
So the next one on the list, David, was the established time. I prefer to have it when everybody was here to make sure that it works for everybody and without Courtney here.
Established dates and time, well, why don't we just,
We can do it at the end for the next month.
yeah,
but
let's just do, sort of status quo. And if it works for everyone, we'll talk about that in the meeting, but, first Monday-ish of the month at 6:30 seemed to work for everybody.
Do you have to come back? You go home and come back?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Today I did.
Does it make it any easier if we just?
Whatever works for you guys.
Okay. Did people get a chance to look at, there's 2 prior minutes. Did people get a chance to look at those?
Mm-hmm.
I did.
Yes.
And again,
Yeah,
on
I
May,
was attached to the email.
for not getting, the June one was ready to go, and it's just that day. So make a motion that we accept the June minutes.
All right, before we do, Which one is the June minutes? Because on the paperwork I have, there doesn't seem to be a date. I see.
If it says the attendees, I'm not in the June meeting.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make
That
sure
makes
that
it
it's,
easier.
it's on the,
Yeah, this is the June, and this should be the July.
okay. Does it say June or July, or do we need that?
I will add it to
Yeah, I
the
would add it.
respective ones.
Okay. And this, that's the June?
That's in July.
Okay. I make a motion to accept the minutes for the June meeting of the rep committee.
With the dated of, the date of the meeting on minutes.
Yep.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor? All right, same thing. Make a motion to accept the meeting for July with the caveat of having it changed or having 6:30 PM in June, the date. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Done. All right. Correspondence and bills and claims.
Just Mellow and the water bill.
How much was Mel?
Mellow is $169.34.
And is that once a month, Martina?
It is.
Okay, and is that, it will continue at once a month, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And the water was?
$93.18.
Okay, cool.
And that's from July, but it's, I haven't the next one.
Any correspondence, anyone? Did you receive? I haven't heard anything.
The only thing was an email from, I forget which sports.
Lacrosse
Okay.
regarding.
A missing check. They
Oh, yeah.
submitted payment and
I think that we've got someone looking into that right now. The county?
they confirmed that today at like 4.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
confirmed?
yeah.
That they
do
found?
not have
Oh, they
it.
have not had
They
it?
do not have it.
So the check has to be rewritten?
Yes.
Okay.
They do not have it.
Along that lines, it may be helpful for us to have a system in place so this doesn't happen again. I'm not worried about getting a check from them. We know who they are, they're gonna run from us again and, collect the money. It's just making sure the documents are in order prior to particularly the team sports coming down the field. Their insurance binder is in, the Corys to, within a period of time. They're supposed to provide I believe, a deposit with their request. I don't know if that will still, you can get that in, but the idea is, we have all these documents, and we don't have a system. We rely on MyRec to check it, but we don't follow up to make sure that it's actually there.
I think the deposit came in, that gets submitted, much prior.
Right, it should be with the application
Yeah,
itself.
so that's like at the beginning of the year. And I think that's the last correspondence that we have from them. which
Yeah,
was
we should
February.
probably, when they get the deposit, they should probably, if possible,
I
have
just
all the
think it got
information.
lost in the mail, simply is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but however, we have somebody here who would, a week before or within a reasonable time when we make our decision, you don't have this document. I understand why the quarries may not be done, but before their season starts, to be able to say your quarries aren't in, you can't go on the fields until you have your quarries submitted. Your documentation saying that your quarries were done. Does that make sense?
Where are the documents from last year? Just
Like when you say
like the
last
insurance
year,
binder for 23 is.
the insurance binder should be downstairs in the assistant collector's office.
Okay.
That's where they all end up. And it's just a matter of, in the past, we were aware of that binder coming in,
Yeah,
but we were never informed when the checks came in.
yeah.
So, well,
Because I was
this,
notified, because I had to sign them.
okay.
So I think we are kind of notified. I don't know
Okay.
when we ever got binders. That's
Okay.
something that's new to
Okay,
me.
two different issues.
Yeah.
One, you may sign it, but we just had a failure in the system. That the check, we never got the check, so you couldn't sign it, so you couldn't say we have it. So the idea is to put a check system in that we've received this information.
So we wouldn't have,
We don't know.
essentially, unless they had checked in with us and said, hey, you haven't deposited our check, we wouldn't have necessarily known. So
Right.
we need sort of that, like,
No, I
Yeah.
understand that, but I'm now going on to the binders, like the insurance binders and the quarries. I don't know if we've ever known that they've been submitted or not.
They go down to the town, the assistant collector gets them and says, oh, we have them. In
Does
the
this
old
go through,
days,
does this go through MyRec, like Courtney collects the documents?
but they don't necessarily come in with the
I
documents.
see. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So, yeah, so I'm just, I understand what you're saying, I'm just trying to figure out, so somebody gets the insurance binder. Is there a spot in my rec to say insurance binder?
When
Received,
they-
payment received, I completely understand what you're saying, but I'm just wondering how to
Is there a tool?
implement the checks that you're saying and who's.
That's what I'm suggesting, is how do we get that checks in?
And I'm
With-
not that familiar with my rec, so,
Neither
yeah.
am I, but I know with the payment, it's not on my rec when the payment is received. The quarries, when they make that application, the quarries can't be completed because there could be up to 4 months before they're even using the field, so there's a delay there. The insurance binder, depending on the season, soccer starts, I think, September 1st for the year.
Yeah,
But they put their application in July, so they're not gonna have the binder until just before they start using it.
right,
So what I'm saying is, even if there is something on my rec right now, until they input it, which is, we are not going to know, and they're not gonna input it until they have in our normal current checking system, we are making the decision for them to give them provisional approval to use the fields, providing those documents are in. We have not had anybody continue to put documents in once we've made the approval. We have to go shag it down. And that had been the responsibility, no. The assumed responsibility was taken under the assistant collector. We should have somebody who, a week before the fields are open, so, to say, all right, we have 3 users in the spring, 2 in the fall, maybe 3. Their binder is in, their quarries are in, payments are done, boom.
Yeah, it's easy.
but I'm just saying the booms are check boxes that should be in my rec so that it's.
Yeah, but it's
But-
hard to
but-
do that because like the season starts, let's say, September
I'm saying for
1st.
for the visibility.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I understand
But they
the
could check them off
process.
and not
It could
get
be
it
any,
done. Yeah, yeah,
or I'm saying that the
No,
check
you'd want,
marks would
you'd
be
want Courtney to be
by
able to
us.
By
check
us.
the box and
Yeah.
not them.
yeah,
So that it's clear in a system of record
yeah.
that
Yeah,
this element has been
Speaking of that, we should
That's
probably have, like, we got a backup for financial, we should probably have a backup MyRec person.
Somebody who's experienced with computers and technology, I don't know anybody here on the committee who, did you just raise your hand?
I think
Yeah, that's
we
what I
discussed
said.
that.
Yeah, because it would be great, like you say, a week beforehand, go in and talk to the collector and say, is everything in? And if it isn't, then they don't play.
We send out a letter, you don't play until,
Yeah,
because there is my understanding, the way Courtney explained it a while back, is there are boxes for the
Right.
places to put it
And
in,
that's what,
but
but we,
in places that are allowed to have a different time schedule, they can submit the documents at that point in time when they're making their application. We don't necessarily require that because,
I completely understand.
so we need to have somebody look at it.
That you said completely, and I think it would be a good
I'm
thing
making a
to
note.
add into my rec in a manner that even if the renter doesn't update it, if it's a manner for us to update it, so that we just say, yep, check received, check not
Yeah.
received, and we expect it on this date, so I completely understand what you're
yeah.
saying.
And I think that the 3 groups know that that's the process.
Right,
And
right.
so for us to
Yeah, so
have the
the
check,
group,
yeah.
the groups are gonna alert us,
Yeah,
but it
but-
would be good to
Yeah.
have that visibility in a central
Okay.
system of record.
I'll take it one more step, which would be, we should actually issue a permit. that says, this has been received, blah, 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 you have permission to use the field for the dates they've signed up for, and just,
Well, all of our, in my belief, all of our approvals are conditional that they get their paperwork in.
right.
But we're not checking to make sure the paperwork.
No, exactly, and I think we've got some kind of responsibility to make sure
Exactly.
that
But
they've got an insurance binder.
But the other part is that we meet, we meet once,
So
once a
Corey's,
month.
you need rosters. I mean, so that,
No, we don't need rosters, they need a roster.
I like rosters. I don't need the kids' names, but it'd be nice to know numbers, wouldn't you?
Insurance
Financial
binders,
condition,
queries,
we could
deposits.
keep going here, you know, like, what's
And
the
adjust.
balance in your checkbook?
I think that's it.
At this time, we may request more. At one point, there was, when we charged per person, we did ask for a
Yeah,
a list of players, and what people were finding that the numbers submitted were not the same as the numbers.
Yeah, but I've been in that condition with, 240 kids playing football and,
Only 100, you're only paying 100.
well, no, I meant, no, I
Yeah.
was, but in terms of, I mean, there's little things that I somehow feel responsible for. And it'd be like, all right, if you've got, 30 kids on Pee-wee or whatever the levels are, and you got one coach, that's impossible. You can't,
Is that our job?
Well, I wonder, because
Okay.
let's go the other way. Let's someone gets hurt and they say, well, they've got the insurance binder. It's like, okay, well, show us the insurance binder. And I think somehow that played a mess would wind up on our,
If it's on the, well, two things will happen. One, the insurance binder is there. Because we shouldn't be allowing them on the field without
Right,
insurance
right.
binder. If somebody gets hurt and there's no insurance binder,
Yeah.
that becomes our problem,
right,
okay?
because we didn't ask for it, or we didn't check to make sure they had it.
That, yes,
Yeah.
that's what we need to
Yeah.
do. And then, I'm not a lawyer, but I've dealt in situations like this where my friends and family have. They will say, what is the neglect of us to make that?
Negligence, yeah,
And
negligence
we
is
have no
the-
negligence,
Yeah.
so.
Well,
The
no,
idea is make sure we get the binder.
It could be,
we're negligent because we didn't ask for it.
Well, again, that's our job.
Yeah.
Or we asked
And
her
that-
and didn't follow up on it. So, anyways, but I think Mike, you,
I'll work with Courtney to figure out how to get sort of at least a checklist type added to that, so that for all the queries that are coming in, we can, yep, you're good, and like, we can check a week before, 2 weeks before, and be like, hey, you don't have
okay,
this
that's
stuff.
great.
Yeah.
MyRec is a canned software package that
Yeah.
looks very customizable.
Yeah. So
There's
that's,
some,
it
there's some
should be,
kind of good
I don't
looking
wanna
ones
say that
out there
there's-
if you look around, yeah.
it should be easily put in place.
Well, and again, I try not to be negative, to be positive, someone from soccer said, oh geez, I don't know, did the town get my check, is I guess what's on the table, but it's like, oh, you could go to MyRec and you see that
This
the
is
box
the
has been checked, or is they
number
received.
222 was
I
added
love it,
in
I mean, I
this
just,
Yeah.
I
It
felt
should be something
very
that's,
loosey-goosey on some of the stuff, and that's one of
would be a
them.
good way to tighten it up.
Can we submit payments for that?
Not really, because the.
I don't think it'll take money.
Whether it
Actually,
could, whether it
yeah.
could or it couldn't,
Some apps do, and it's a really, like my Broomball app does, and it's a really great way to just like track, like keep track of who's coming and who's.
Yeah.
so whether it could or it couldn't, the process currently is a hard check delivered here.
Yeah.
So maybe in the
And
future.
back up to
we'll
that,
do but
the mechanics of
our
that
current
would be-
process
Unless it's automatic with MyRec, the town would have to have a merchant account, there's all this stuff would have to happen for that.
It doesn't, it's not the easiest thing, dude.
Well,
We'd have
it
to
is,
see from
it
what
actually
they
is
do.
easy,
It
but,
may be doable, but
Mhm.
that's,
We can look
Yeah,
at it.
so,
Next step.
so the good thing about my rec is there's people that you can call up and they can make things happen for you. They have a help desk and we pay money for them to have that way, so that sounds like an idea. All right, I don't even know where we're at.
bills and
Bills, so
correspondence.
we're all set, right?
Yes.
Mellow
down
and
with
Vice
correspondence.
water.
Yeah. And then applications for field, court, and field house or other. So since we're into that category, we had a car show on Friday night, and there were people using the field. Didn't get a permit for it, and they were taking parking spaces, which the car show had. I drove by tonight. There was definitely an organized group out there playing with lots of balls, and so I think that the fact that they, or who's ever using it, it's a soccer group, finds it okay to use the fields without contacting us or paying us. I don't know how the town looks at that. I don't know how we should look at that. You know, in some ways I'm like, well, no one's using the field, but on the other hand, it's an organized event using the field. And I don't know how other people think about that.
Well, I don't think that should be really allowed or
Yep.
encouraged.
Yep.
I'll just say it out loud.
Yeah.
I mean, if we want additional revenue streams to do different things, that could be.
Yeah, and again, you know, the thought was before, well, it's Newbury residents. Well, I'm guaranteeing if you went out there, they wouldn't be all Newbury residents. I assume that it's one of the groups that say, hey, let's get some early practice in, because it's definitely organized and it's been going on for years. And I don't know if there's an easy way to stop it. You know, I don't want to be mean or anything, but it's one of those things where it would have affected the car show if it was this Friday night, because there's a lot of people that are out there parking, so.
Is there instructions going on, or is it like
Oh,
just a lot of people?
it's definitely instructions.
Okay.
So which,
This
do
money
you know
exchange
the
would be
organization?
another-
No,
Not exactly.
no, it's definitely soccer, it's
So
not
maybe,
lacrosse.
maybe we can just email them and just say, hey,
Yeah, we can remind them that, you know, there's two parts to this. One is if this is happening every week at the same time, that it becomes more, as our policy requests, you need a permit. And that would be a matter of making sure that, like the basketball group that came in Thursday nights, to use the courts every Thursday night last summer. And I approached one of the members, like, look, you're using this, and using it for free, and you're charging people to be coached. I have a problem with that, personally. If it was a father with his daughter with a couple of friends, that's different.
Yeah,
Then they come in
Yeah.
at different times.
that's completely.
Hey, I'll come in on Wednesday, or Tuesday night, whenever we can. Even if it's a father with a parent, with their kids and neighbors,
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
every
we
Tuesday.
understand.
expecting-
A business is different than a.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
there's 25 kids out there
So,
playing.
my
It's
suggestion.
not just one dad grabbing the
So,
neighborhood.
you know, so
Yeah.
what's the answer there? Do we ask the police department to go over and say, sorry, you guys don't have a permit, you have to leave? I mean, I don't know what the proper protocol is.
Here, my position is based on what we've written. They need a permit, and that's part of our policies. If you're using it regularly, an organized group coming on a regular basis needs a permit. We don't know, we don't have all the facts to say, it's United Soccer out of the Amesbury coming in. Because I saw the last group, and I'm not disagreeing with you. The fields are open for public use, and people who have permits have priority. So other people get to use it, but if you have a permit, you have a priority, non-exclusive use for that piece of property at that designated time. If this is a perennial a weekly problem, then I think we need to figure out what the next step is.
Well, it's not so much that, it's that there's two large soccer nets on the end of the lacrosse field, and they are running a practice. And it's an organized practice, and it's, you know, do I want to be like hardline and say, no, you can't? It's just that if it was some kids playing, that's what it's there for. But if it's someone that is making money either now or in the future, because they may say they're nonprofits, but there's revenue coming in and out. And the other part is that it's just not Newbury people, so.
And it should be, but even more simplistic, there's a process, right?
Yep.
And there is a permitting process, and there is a liability, if you will, for the fields,
Yep.
just in case something occurred. So right now, we're in that gray area. I'm not saying that they can't or they need to be charged or whatever, but they should be permitted.
Yeah, and it's
So-
midsummer, so
Yeah.
it's also, whatever kind of abuse happens to the field, takes a little bit longer to.
And it's been wet.
and
I mean,
remember-
I don't know how wet it is there, but,
Remember the lacrosse people coming in and going off, and we nut up dirt, and there's holes here and there.
and they fill them,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
very,
and so
they're very
right
good
now,
partners.
right now,
so-
there's definitely usage going on in there, and a lot of kids, so.
Could it be that maybe they don't know, because they're thinking, oh, it's not our season? They don't realize that even though it's outside of their season, it
No,
could be.
it's definitely organized, because there's
Right.
two very large soccer nets that have been dragged down there, so I think that who,
What I'm saying is, if it's one of the people that normally, like,
I'm thinking it has to be one of the.
We will.
maybe they just don't
I think they
realize.
Mark,
just
you
did.
just, I guess.
I think very light
Like a reminder,
correspondence, like, hey, you
just a
know.
reminder.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think, Mark, you have the info for all the two soccer
Yeah,
groups, right?
I will reach out to contact.
TYS and whatever this is, Rush or whatever the new is, and just,
Very light,
Yeah,
yeah.
the assumption is, it's that group, either one of those groups. Okay, let's take that for granted. Part of the problem, having been involved in organized sports, sometimes a coach on their own.
Absolutely.
So I will reach out to Jason
Yeah,
and
Very
to,
light, not anything, you know.
well, the reason
don't
I
wanna
say
send police-
this,
And I don't want to send police down to talk to people, that's just.
no, but the reason I say this is that,
In my opinion, it's too much.
that the night, I don't know what age group you saw when you opened the fields for the car show. But when I went by, they were little tykes. This afternoon, they were different age groups up there, so it's.
No, all I saw with regard to that was the guy breaking down the equipment Friday morning,
Okay.
and he had a bunch of equipment. I mean, it was all kinds of,
pylons and stuff.
no, it looked more than pylons. I mean,
Well, I'm saying just
big
equipment.
collapsible nets and like shoot under this, shoot over that kind of things. And it was just, he was there for probably 45 minutes collecting all his stuff.
Okay.
Uh,
That's a problem. So the other thing we can do is close the fields.
Yeah.
Not permit anybody to be on them, and if they're
And
on.
I think that's the other extreme.
Yeah, no, it's not, I don't feel that way at all, I just, because if you, like, I saw people walking their dogs there, and if a couple kids are out there throwing a frisbee, that's not a problem, but all of a sudden, you have, sounds stupid, but I played ping pong the other night in our backyard, and there were four of us, and we were there for a half hour, within the half hour, we sort of crushed the grass down and did a number on it, and so, there was, four people, I'm talking the whole group of people, and they're talking about having the pristine field. So I just think that if you can send them a note and say, unless you are permitted, we don't expect you to be on the field until next week, because next week their
Contact
season
your
starts.
coaches.
Yeah.
Again, it could be I don't want to say a road coach.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
a position where, oh, I got kids coming
Or
up.
just-
I'd also say, if you're gonna have someone down there, we'd ask that they rotate the fields too, if they're beating on that.
We can
Yeah.
always close one of the fields, if we see that it's being used during the summer,
Yeah,
because I know on a regular basis, there is a father and daughter, she's working on her goalie work, using the field, and that's great, that's what it's there for. But we can always say, field two,
yeah.
use of field but is not permitted, and then when any of us go by, we can bring in law enforcement and say, you can't be here. You can be in that field, or that field, but this field's closed, it needs a rest.
Okay.
But I will send something out with the minutes. No, just kidding, just kidding.
All right.
I'll CC you, David, on that.
All right, and, So there's no applications. We discussed the court, the field. You guys are doing well with your pickleball, yes?
Yeah, I do have one question though.
You know what, let's do this. When we, let's move on to the updates of the old business.
I'm not gonna let you.
If that's okay with, is that
Yeah,
okay?
perfectly fine.
Master plan update, from my point of view, I've sent 2 emails out. Still waiting for a response from Chris. I guess the bottom line is what I wanna do is just get, something that he agrees to size-wise, and we can sign it before December. Update on pickleball.
Not so much of a distraction. Pickleball's fine. Mike's been playing Sundays, which is great.
Is he any good? Just kidding.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good.
Glad you hear that.
I need to learn the rules better.
Wow.
It's keeping score, right? It's a hard part.
But, so I've always kind of aspired to blocking time up there, and I actually put the stuff in with Courtney that we are playing pickleball now up there Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Sunday mornings. Various hours, and it's various, well, it would be, Cindy's group is twice a week, and the other 3, I guess, are kind of the people that grew out of Cindy's program, for lack of a better word. We've got the senior, what's it called, what's Tom called?
Oh, he's a property tax abatement.
Yeah, so we've got a guy that's kind of running it, which is just.
He sets up and breaks down.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, no, it's ideal,
It runs itself.
and it runs itself.
And did we get the,
Congratulations, thank you for
Yes, yeah,
both
yeah,
of you
yeah.
for making that happen.
do we get the boxes?
So we moved the box that was inside. You
Yeah.
guys did that, didn't you? Move the
Yeah,
box that was
yeah, we
inside.
put the box outside, and
But we're keeping nets in there.
we're keeping that, we're leaving the balls and the defibrillator and stuff like
And the
that.
paddles
all
and stuff
go in. So
inside.
the person who sets up has to have access to the key for the box and the equipment that's in the kitchen.
Okay.
That's working, and Cindy and I actually worked on like a little sign that we could put up, just like, and it would say.
Yeah, I have that. I just have to bring it forward.
Well, it's wrong now, so I'm glad you didn't spend a lot
So,
of time on it.
can you just send me?
I will.
Updated, and I'll update this.
But what I've been thinking about is blocking off time for basketball, just in fairness,
Yeah.
and so no one says, geez, you got all this pickleball time.
Yeah.
And so the thought that occurred to me was, I've been assuming all along that that's busier up there at night. So like the 5 mornings that we're playing pickleball officially, but reserved for basketball, 6 to 8 o'clock on those same 5 nights. And perhaps it gives us a gateway that on Wednesdays and Saturdays, it's reserved for pickleball in the evening, and it would be reserved for basketball in the morning. So just for presentation, like
Yeah.
this court, the multi-sport recreational facility court is reserved for pickleball these dates and times. And
Yeah, that would probably be a nice system to have, is, you know, certain allotted hours.
And
Some people know.
make it fair.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
3 hours in the morning, 3 hours, and then it gives you the opportunity to say, and anything else is first come, first served. If there's someone here, and you're or if you're playing and someone comes to play, please don't stay for 3 hours. I mean, there's gotta be a nice way of saying.
Yeah.
Beat it?
Well, no, because it just happened the other,
Right.
it happens a lot in pickleball. We
Sure.
take all 3 courts. Some
Yeah.
kid shows up with a basketball and everybody feels,
Yeah.
we're not gonna say, oh, go look at the sign, you're not supposed to be here.
Right.
You know, we moved the net and they played basketball and they left and we moved the net back. And it's just, it's
Make it
civil,
work.
it's civil, but I almost think putting a sign up is a threat, you know, like, you can't be here.
Well, 2 things. One, if they come to play basketball and it's reserved for pickleball, maybe you could recruit them to play pickleball, and if they win.
Always. You know how I operate.
I
You show up
know.
and you even look at that court, I go over and ask you if you wanna play.
We have paddles, come join us.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
hear what
it's
you're
a ball
saying
and
about people coming up with the expectation to shoot hoop and the fields are being used.
Yeah.
And I think there's a better way for us to put out when the just like we do with the fields, which we're doing a great job to say, hey, these fields are being used, these, basketball court, this multi-sport court is being used for this, 2 lanes, or half of it, or whatever. Something on our website, so people know, before they get up there, have access to knowing that.
Yeah,
And
and that would be, other than putting a laminated sign up, that would be the ultimate, is let's actually get it online, so.
Yeah, we can do it online, but I think that more like pickup people are like, they show up and they're like.
You could probably put the calendar on.
I was gonna say the calendar, so I have a calendar on my page, and
Yeah.
that's where
Yeah.
You can put it on the MyRec calendar.
Yeah, yeah. if I
on the
have
my
this
rec,
going
but
on.
then that's one extra step, but on the actual rec committee pages, do you have a calendar? Because I have on the council on
No.
aging page, we have a calendar.
We should.
We don't.
Where I list, tomorrow night's game night.
Is it?
Wednesday, it is.
You want that?
Wednesday is this, Thursday is that.
If, yeah, you
So
could
you
talk
can see it.
to, if it's some way that we could talk to whoever's IT person for the town and see if we can do something with it.
What's his name?
Yeah.
John.
John.
Is it John now? If there's any way that we,
Is there a Facebook page, like a, does he?
I wouldn't want to, I think it should just be on a town officiated account. I think our website, I think a sign on the gate or the fence just saying, please see this website for scheduled,
Yeah,
scheduled.
and again, it's not a big deal, because like I said, it happens all the time. And we met some really cool people, there were people visiting from Italy, and there was this giant, and he was really good at basketball. I was like, oh, yeah, go ahead and play, we'll stay over here for a
Yeah,
while,
yeah.
And it's not a problem at all, but I've got this thing about, I really think we need time in the evening, and I don't want to block off time for pickleball, when I know that people are playing basketball. But so it's like Wednesday and Saturday, would you play at night? You can't, you work.
Honestly, I would play, the reason we're playing on Sundays is because there was no nighttime.
No nighttime.
Yeah.
I would love to have somebody take a similar position that you have to work the basketball, without it being a team to be there all the time. If that makes any sense, we have an established need by the work that you two have done to bring in COA and other people. Yes, the basketball courts are, people want to play basketball. I'm reluctant to reserve time and say, well, we gave you time, see. I think we need to figure out, don't have another court. But I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm just trying to think
I
out
think it's
loud.
more for the visibility.
yeah, that's what I was wondering, if we
I-
did some kind of sign like that, where that center section is, when you go in, it used to be the blockage for the old entranceway to the fields, but it's right before the field house, that sign, where that post is in the center, if we put something like that up there and said, reserved pickleball hours are blah, 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 it's something we can change it, so that people would walk up and they say, oh yeah, today's Monday, it's 2:30, there's pickleball going on, but we're at 3:30, we're gonna shoot hoops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
John, are any of the pickleball times always using the 3 courts?
Thursday
would-
morning, would you say?
Definitely Thursday.
That's busy.
Fridays, there were 3, Mondays have been 3.
So maybe there's
Yeah.
certain times, and we do the calendar idea, but maybe there's certain times that we're like, that we put, like, all 3, like, there's three spaces there.
Yes, yeah,
Like, we only use 2
yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
So like, we could easily say,
Yeah,
2 pickleball,
No,
1
you're right.
basketball,
Yeah.
3 pickleball, and that way it makes it very obvious that
Yeah.
if there's only 2 pickleball and 1 open,
yeah,
come and play basketball.
Yeah,
To
yeah,
that
yeah,
point
yeah.
of, we don't have to force the basketball time to be there.
Right.
We just make it very clear that you're more than welcome and like, there's space.
I know with the Y, when you look at the pool schedule, they'll say,
Exactly.
1 lap lane, 2 open swim, 3 diving, and at this time it changes. But something along that line of,
Yeah.
we have 2, half court, pickleball, half basketball. This is the full court pickleball. And just put down when we have something scheduled, not scheduling other entities.
Yeah.
So if some kid, and I've seen it, and I have no objections to it, had his motor, a little electric car on the field, on the court, it was a nice little surface, no cars driving over it.
Just dead ties. Sorry.
So, a poster board like that would be able to, I mean, with your city, could you do something with your city, the one that's blocked, like level block, where you can put numbers and stuff like that in? Or do you think something like that, because that thing's set up that you'd have a poster board or something that goes in and locked in place. I don't know if you saw how that works. You just don't write in it, there's space. So like you had something, a printing company that did a beautiful, hey, we sell flowers. It would fit in here like this and then down. So if we had just like something like, even like a whiteboard or something that we fit in here, we could write the hours in. Do you think that's something?
I'd go another way, which is I'd get a piece of plexiglass, and you could put paper behind the plexiglass. Kind of.
Okay.
You know,
And just swap out the paper.
Yeah, just swap out the paper as needed, that way we're not laminating a sign and then changing it
Okay.
the day after you laminate it.
And then the only
But,
one.
so now, but that's, yeah, I mean, we could attach it to the fence,
Yeah.
even though it disappeared once already.
I had one attached to the fence and it went missing.
Oh, someone
It's
stole
back
it?
now.
It's
Who
back.
took
It's a
it?
mystery.
She paid the Friends of the Council on Aging paid the ransom.
I don't know where it went, but it came back.
I've heard of hacking.
Yeah.
Stealing a sandwich
Stealing.
board.
No, it was.
In returning.
It's actually, it's a funny story how it came about, because I think you asked me,
Where is
where'd you
it?
put the sign? And I was like, what, like, what sign? I had never seen it,
Mhm.
and I guess Sanjay was there Tuesday, and I had a witness from Monday that it was there, and I had a witness from Wednesday who it wasn't there. It's like, it disappeared. Did you ever call the police?
No.
Oh,
The coyotes were stolen from the.
Yeah.
Did they get those back yet or not?
I
I have not heard.
So what we do is we just, I'll even give, we'll put an air tag. And we'll put an air tag inside of it. I'll just drop an air tag in there.
That would be
When
fun.
we get it set. And then if
If
it
it goes to
disappears.
11 Central Street,
It's-
they can do it.
I'll pick it up and put it in the dumpster.
Now you're giving ideas.
I know where I put it.
Okay, so I think,
So let's
All right, well,
go
All right,
back
so
to
we're good with
price.
that.
You know what, we'll hold up on the sign, it was just a thought.
yeah,
And it was a devious thought, thinking that if it's fair, then we can't be looked at as being unfair.
Right.
The community, and it's not a big, the people that show up on Fridays, there's probably, I'll say 40 people, it's some collection of those people show up every week.
Yeah.
So it's not like this is, we're 2,000 people are going pickleball. So
Yeah.
I just don't want to show
Yeah.
up my biceps.
But I like the idea of being proactive, saying this is when pickleball is being used, people. You came up here to play basketball, you couldn't do it this time. However, going forward,
Yeah.
here's the information for
And
you.
I've been there enough to know that there's not a lot of basketball that's played, and when there is basketball, then you do the best you can to accommodate.
Yeah.
And that's.
I'm sure that they appreciate that, and
Yeah.
everyone does.
Of
and
course,
that's-
yeah,
that's very good.
yeah.
all right, excellent. Little Lending Library, that would be Mark's, I think that's Mark's ballpark.
Right now, I haven't gotten any, and let me back up. The chair of the library board has no objections, love the idea of getting more books out, just for the people's education. A proposal was brought forward to the committee by a citizen in town, Chris Burgess, whose family has been, still actively uses the library. But, yeah, it would just be a great place, you have kids coming on a regular basis, you have parents as well, wouldn't it be great to have it up there? I checked in with the new director of the library, she is very supportive of it, gave me some information regarding things to worry about, do we want to be part of the little lending library organization, or we can just put up our own box. And then I followed up with a phone call with the chair of the library board, and he too sounds like a great idea. Personally, he supports the idea of having access to books. I have a couple of groups that would be interested and willing to build it, and it's a matter of us agreeing to it and then bringing it to the select board. And maybe assigning or working with one person to sort of spearhead that.
Can I ask you a question on why the select board needs to be, do they have an approval process for
It is-
putting up a little lending library in the, are you talking Eden Manor?
At the Central Street Field, location be determined with DPW. Up near the field house. Anytime there's anything permanent going into town property, they should be aware of it.
Okay.
Yeah, and we could discuss it with one of the board members and find out if it's something that should be brought up to them or not. And they may say, no, just go ahead and do
Just
it.
do it.
Because that's what happened with the parking lot. We didn't know if we had the parking lot or not, and then,
They can-
Yeah,
At
they
one
said-
point we did, one point we didn't,
Yeah.
now we have
Yeah, now we
documentation,
have-
it's
yeah.
our responsibility.
Okay.
It would be, at this point in time, ultimate responsibility would be on the rec committee, because it's on our jurisdiction. But it would be great if there was a group that would help monitor it and make sure there's books there, appropriate books. You know, it might be for somebody, like a community service type program at a high school level or something like that.
Oh, wow.
But-
You've been nominated.
Make it smaller.
It may not be. You may say, I have a better group who would be really good at, just so there's more community involvement. We're not just sticking up a box and walking away from it, but there's community involvement to help make it an asset as opposed to a liability.
How about Whittier? Whittier
But we have families in town that are happy to do it.
could use some good press too, I would imagine.
yeah, they could use the press.
I got plenty of books to populate it with.
Yeah.
And we, you know, we
Afraid
come
of.
up.
Children's books.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what we're waiting for is what?
Basically, do we need to go to, if you want to check with?
Yeah, I'll check with, can I, Steve, can I?
Sure.
Check with,
You need coffee?
The
the
program
people,
parties.
yeah, the people in charge.
And if so, would you be willing to work with me and push this, get this through?
I'd be fully willing to, you know,
Special events coordinator? Yeah, there you go. There you go.
All right.
Yeah, I think we looked online, they had that small
Well,
lending line.
we could figure out what
lending library
size.
books.
Yeah, I mean, I see a number throughout that are small, and I think this would be, as I spoke to one individual, said, you don't want to make it too small, because people have a lot of books, and it's a good thing to have it filled up with books.
Right, yeah.
And then I have it at home, but, you know, the annual cost to maintain that is trivial. If we use Lexiglass as opposed to window glass, pane glass, sure, the initial cost is a little bit expensive, but it won't break.
Are we doing the little lending library thing itself, or are we making the determination not to do that and just do our
Yeah.
own thing?
Well, it depends on what my thinking is. I don't want to commit the town to a relationship with Lennon Library if they don't want to commit themselves. So that was sort of the reason of asking.
All right, so you're gonna follow up on that? and then-
Yeah, so, I'm sorry,
About-
there's a separate ending called Little Lending Library?
Yeah.
There's a national organization.
So do we have to use those? We can just,
No.
okay, let's,
You don't have to.
I think,
We
to
do
just to
our
make
own
it
thing,
easy,
right?
do our own thing.
I would
Okay.
guess.
Yeah, not get involved, and I'll talk to them about that.
Yeah, because
That's
that's
right.
it's
Yeah.
like a registered trademark, it's like.
Yeah, yeah, no.
And yeah.
You know how like there's real therapy dogs and then
Yeah.
there's other
Yeah.
therapy dogs?
Yeah,
And people think that they're therapy dogs, and no, you're not certified,
no.
Yeah.
just because they sit on your lap. Anyway, so we will work together and take whatever steps necessary.
all right.
Yeah.
And I'll fill you in on more.
Yeah,
So
I'll-
this would be kind of like a take a book, leave a book type thing, rather
Or take a
Or
book
just take
and
a
not,
or just take a book,
No.
like one of those kind of
Yeah.
Yeah.
situations,
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
being associated with the actual library.
Yeah,
and
correct.
yeah.
Okay,
Correct.
I thought we were like doing a
We're gonna have another library system in town.
So-
Just throw it
Just
all.
like
Yeah, so
picture,
this, yeah, so this is like,
you know,
like,
like
okay, you're done
some
with these.
kids' books.
Yeah, like you're, okay, you're done
And
with these
some young
books,
adult
throw in
books.
these books, you can take books out. Okay.
Um,
That works.
All right, so.
I apologize that I wasn't clear.
Oh, no, no big deal.
Right, so now we've got that set, car show update.
You were there.
You were there?
I drove by around 7:15 or so, and it was rocking.
I missed it.
Good event. I spoke to the two organizers. They were very pleased with it. They had to do a little arrangement with the vehicles, but they made it work. It kept it safe. People still had access to the basketball, the multi-court area. Some great vehicles. A lot of Mustangs. Like 9 of them. And this might be a good home for it if they thought so going forward that we could work with them.
I wonder how, do you know how much control they have over the dates? Like, is there?
I think it's up to them. When I looked at, prior to, I looked at the dates of ones in the past. They like to do it this time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be on Byfield.
Yeah, no, I was, the day we moved in, was
Yeah.
the day that I always
Yeah, sure.
remember, it was
Yeah.
like, there was a car show, I was like, hey, that's really nice of them to welcome me at that.
Move in, get a car.
But I mean, so Tony Matthews had called me over the weekend before, and it's like, we're still waiting for you guys to give us an answer, and I really felt like I was in a jam. It's like, I can't make up an answer, but I said at one point, Tony, to be honest with you,
It was rain day.
the rain,
You said rain.
yeah, we had approved the day, and he had asked for rain date, and he said, well, we're trying to go public, we want to put flyers out and stuff, we don't have a rain date. And I'm like, oh, Jesus. And then I finally said, because, we're
Yeah.
trying, and Courtney was away, and it was everything. So I finally said, look, I'm sure if this gets to a rain date, we can work something out, but if there's soccer practice, I gotta have plans to have 200 kids picked up, and if it means you have to give us a lane.
Yeah, that's what we were thinking.
And finally, I said to David, I said, I just wanna tell him, let's pray for sun, and if it comes down to it, we might have to reconfigure. So I really felt like, if maybe we have a reverse conversation, go back to him and say, all right, I'm glad great event, 3 of us went, it looked like it was a good time. The place was spotless, I was there, I went Friday morning? Yeah, Friday morning I was there wasn't a paper on the ground.
Saturday.
so-
Saturday morning.
Saturday, yeah,
Yeah.
because I went down and locked the gate.
Yeah, I shut the gate at night.
Yeah, but I went to check it,
Yeah.
and,
I decided I wasn't gonna risk having another
yeah.
smoke show on the grass.
So, yeah, just like if they can move it to July, if they want a rain date in August. kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
suggestion, yeah.
we should, even, not even that, but
And
we
maybe
should,
we thank them for having a great event
yeah.
at the field, and next year, we could be a little more, it would make sense if you're out of there before September. I didn't even know what date to say soccer started.
But if they come to us next year, and it's an annual thing, we should basically say to them at that point, if they're asking for August 4th, and they want a rain date on August 20th or whatever.
Yeah.
That we let them know that, yeah, you have to ask for a rain date, and hopefully it will be before soccer season starts, and so
Right,
it'll work.
yeah.
My suggestion, talking to them, is put the application in early, like January,
Yeah,
for it, with both dates.
yeah,
So
I don't know how
when
it
we
works,
have-
maybe there's a car show, because they don't want to have one if Georgetown's
Yeah,
having
yeah,
one.
they-
So
Right,
probably
right.
they
So
could
And
coordinate
Newbury
with that.
Port, too. Newburyport sometimes has.
You know, they're just.
They have it every year. This one was like 3 days, 4 days after.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they do them all the time.
So, yeah, the idea is, they were great community partners.
Yeah.
It was great seeing a different clientele at the property, breaking up from it just being a youth sport activity. Now we have more adults using the multi-court. It's great having a different recreational activity that people enjoy there, so.
We never really looked at whether that wedding guy was, because there's a wedding there somewhere.
Yeah, in September.
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Labor Day.
Labor Day weekend. And the idea is,
Sunday.
we reach, if you have contact with Tony or with Steve,
Yeah.
to get the application in. I think you're a great partner, so he can help you. It's like with the camps, which almost falls in the category of a camp. You need to make your reservations in January to make sure you have it in time, so we're not
Yeah.
putting you up against the wall with the date, or that date doesn't work.
I think that they came in early enough to get, it was just, they had said to us at that point, which worked out great, because we had, there was a whole thing with meeting times and having to reschedule, so
yep.
it was more so us not being here for the first round. But once we get that, we can basically say to them, you know, great job done, can next year give us 2 dates, date for the show and rain date,
Yeah.
and then we can lock it in that way, we're
And you
not
can
saying.
say, stay up, try to stay up September.
Because we were like, we had our, we were like, John's like, "Oh, let's just pray for a nice night, and then he said, yeah, it's gonna be nice, and so.
Congratulations, nice job praying.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Good job.
yeah.
But yeah, go, again, I think we, so, I would suggest getting in January, because that's when it opens up for the summer.
Yeah.
Because in theory, the field house was built to have summer camps there. And we want people to book early for those one-day uses, so that they don't get pinned into, we already have something scheduled there.
Yep.
You can't have them. They're in there early, we approve it.
Well, yeah, what do you got, we'll talk to, I mean, are you in touch with either Steve or?
I've got Tony's number.
Yeah, talk to, yeah, just reach out to him and just say, you know, ask him about its parameters, when he needs, you know,
Yeah.
like how soon they can make that decision
Yeah.
on that day, because like you say, maybe something else will be going on.
Yeah.
All right, Friends Council on Aging, or Friends Council on Aging update, or Friends.
Movie night? Do you want to speak to that, Cindy, or do you want?
Not really.
Okay. It didn't necessarily go as expected. The concept was there, but it didn't have the outreach to bring as many people in to make it a profitable event. I think part of one of the challenges is people, we're talking about the basketball and the use of the court. People don't know what's going on. The car show, there's a certain group
They
that
show up
gets
for
to
that,
show
yeah,
up.
yeah.
But we're not, and it may not be a rec committee issue, it might be more of a, you know, getting our IT person. People are using our facilities, whether it's the Upper Green, Lower Green, Central Street, and word's not getting out.
So that's gonna help out a lot with.
But if there's a way in which we could do more outreach for stuff that's happening on town property, yeah, it would support the users of, like if the muster that goes on at the Upper Green. You know, it's not a town entity that's hosting it, but it's on town property.
Yeah, and but those people know every year. I think that, you know, especially with town meeting and elections, those poster boards they put up in front of the fire department and stuff like that, things like that, you drive by it every day and say, oh,
Well,
something's
they do
going
it
on.
like 2 weeks ahead of
Yeah,
time.
yeah, and so.
Can't be like the day of.
Yeah,
You have to do it.
yeah,
But that would be good for the movie night too, like.
yeah, yeah.
That, I mean, I'm a parent, I had no idea. Other than like the one time last week, or one time a month ago when I was here, I didn't know about the movies. I didn't know what
I'm not
day it was.
sure, I know that they
Like,
talked
communication
about
needs to be better.
how they were advertising it, so it's live and learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
for them.
like,
And so
I-
that's a new group for us. It's a whole refresh of members.
Yeah.
And they're trying things on.
They're trying things
and-
out.
I think those boards are fantastic for getting this word
We're
out.
not, yeah, because the amount of traffic that goes by Central Street is pretty amazing.
Well, the car show did it. They had their own
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
sandwich board out.
Yeah.
Car show, August 16th, that's all it said.
Yeah.
It was very simple, straightforward.
They did
That's all you need.
He did ask
Right?
permission for that night.
Right, but it was a good
So
idea.
here's a kid technology, that's all you need, car show and the date.
Yeah.
Like, of course, having some like online outreach would definitely
Mhm.
probably push it for a little bit more, but you don't really need all too much more than that. But
Yeah.
if you were to put it online, you'd probably reach a couple more people who would
I think
come.
that there's an age thing. I think that
Yeah.
old people like us are like, oh, sign, I can read that, let's do it. And then young people, like, they just go right to the phone.
I
Like young
don't know,
people.
but if you're driving by and you see
Yeah,
it,
I feel like
Yeah.
oh, this is here,
Yeah.
I will come.
because the
That's
thing
how I know
with-
what town meeting is.
Easy, yeah,
Election.
exactly.
And you're technical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not on the town website every day?
No.
Yeah, what I noticed is that, you know, my generation wouldn't be following any accounts or getting any updates on anywhere that we'd be putting this out.
Yeah, yeah.
So, sure, we might be able to put it out on, say, Facebook on
Yeah.
the town, or if we have like a town Instagram page or something like that. I don't think it'd reach many more people than if we just had the sign out. Honestly, the sign
You'd hit
probably-
more people.
The sign would probably get more people
Yep.
anyways.
Yep.
Like,
That's good.
Yeah, you're not following the Council on Aging Facebook page, are you?
I
And
I have a
That's
single
what I'm
friend on Facebook.
I've
That is it.
Yeah.
I have not touched Facebook in
Yep.
probably 2 years.
Right.
when I go to
Not that you're my
client's
target
page-
audience, but
There you go.
for a friends group,
But-
something like that.
Correct.
Yeah,
You
but
guys
just
are.
like as a general
Right.
rule of thumb, even if it's not.
And you're not really on much social media.
Like,
It
I'll-
seems that your generation isn't, it's more, you go on like, group chats.
Yeah, like I usually spend time on group chats with my friends, and every once in a while, and I will say I do have a bit of a problem. I definitely spend a decent amount of time on social media, like YouTube, but that's like.
YouTube, but that's different, you're not getting, you're not following something, you're not on Instagram, you're not on Facebook.
Well, I am on Instagram, but it's not like how a lot of people would use Facebook. It's more just like, ooh, funny
That's what I had for
memes.
lunch.
Ha 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 ha.
Cat names, cat names.
Yeah. Oh, that's not something that should be
All right, I'm
out
into
of this
it.
platform. Yeah, it is. Like, yeah.
I got a fabulous dad joke Instagram
Oh, yeah?
that I do, yeah, and there's fresh material every day.
That's awesome.
That's not fresh at all.
Anyways, we digress.
Anyway,
Back to-
all right.
back to-
I guess the point I'm trying to drive is how do we help, if it's our role, help identify activities that are occurring on town property. Just so if somebody was to go to, say, the calendar, like if you go to Hamilton Wenham and they'll say, oh, here's what's happening, you know, these fields are being used and this field's being used, the upper green's being used. Not necessarily as a complete outreach, but also, our fields are being used.
It is recreation.
Yeah. And I'm not looking for an answer today, but just something for us to look at how do we support.
It's one of those things that like, it is recreation, but we don't have control over most of those fields either.
You
So
don't have
like,
any control
well-
over Triton's
so it's sort of like,
Yeah.
how much out of our realm do
elementary
we,
school.
like, just because it is recreational,
Because-
do we start help?
Because it's recreational property. And even though we don't have jurisdiction over it, doesn't mean we can't put it on a town calendar to let people know that we are trying to help people understand that they're recreational.
Is there a town calendar?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there is. That's how I found out.
On the
this
town
meeting.
It's our IT guys.
I've been on the town website tons, but like,
Yeah, there's a thing
I
that says
but
calendar.
I go
You and I can
specific-
do a little.
I go specifically to the pages I need. I don't see it.
No, they say
It's
further
not
to the
you,
top,
Faith.
you're in the front. It's-
I have to go to Town of Newbury calendar. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, open space planning survey.
We had a survey given to us to review, if people had any comments, questions, or concerns about it, so we can give feedback to the Open Space Committee. I've sent it out a couple times to people.
Yeah, the only thing with surveys that I noticed, it's, you know, people have their thoughts on surveys. It's when you're asking about times or occasions, it's to keep it consistent. I think some of it is like, do you use it mornings, do you use it afternoons, do you use it any times? Just, I thought that the choices, the 4 choices were a little.
My comment was, could we have a page if they're gonna do it? Like if they're gonna put in an open space survey, can the rec department have a section of it? Like, can we add to it?
Do you have
I
questions
know-
that you would add?
Yeah, well, no, not necessarily, but if I think about it for a while, it's like, you know, they might ask about hiking trails, and I think we need, if we're gonna be guided to go do something with hiking trails, then, and I'm certainly not trying to expand our role, but that was just it's a great survey, and I'm sure there's something to that that's all part of their grant application. But if you're gonna, I've learned from Cindy, if you're trying to communicate with the town, it's not the easiest thing to do.
Right.
She had to fight to get a newsletter in the
Yeah.
tax bill, you know, it's just,
Yeah, I've been in places where you don't send any information out with the tax bill because you don't want to remind people.
Yeah.
You just want them to pay it. Okay.
Yeah, but if you look at some of those, like the ABCD answers, it's like sometimes, anytime, it's Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and sometimes it's,
yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, it needs to be,
consistency and,
it needs to be consistent in your 4 choices. You can't have it.
Yeah, you can't vary that.
Yeah, that's like,
That's like going
Survey
1, 2, 3, 4, and then 4, 3, 2,
I didn't
1.
want to say that, but
Don't adjust the order of your.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
That's
just
one,
keep it-
10 being
Yeah,
the
right,
highest,
and
and
then
one being the best, yeah.
to go along with what John said, you know, the question of which of any youth sports does your family participate in? Just so we know, if we have 500 surveys and only 2 people are saying, no, they're only playing, one's playing lacrosse, one's playing soccer, that's giving us some information. How often, the other question was, how often do you travel to adjoining communities to participate in recreational activities?
yeah, what were those choices again?
What would, I'm sure.
How often? What was the
Once a
options?
month, once a week.
Uh, There is one that says daily, regularly, irregularly for visit to open park spaces.
Yes, it should be daily, regularly, or irregularly. It's-
I would add a aspect to that of when in season, because I am traveling for 3 days a week during baseball, outside of Labor. That is only a 2.5, 3 month period.
Yeah,
Right.
So and that might lacrosse would probably be similar. Soccer at youth levels might be less.
It's a small town, you gotta go, you play each other all the time, you gotta
Yeah.
go somewhere else, yeah.
yeah, I would word it differently, because then as you travel out to, you know, part of your league, you travel, but if you're, there's another question here. But, you know, basically, are people going to Newburyport to play tennis? Because we don't have any tennis courts here. Are people going outside to play pickleball because we don't have enough time?
So it's not youth, it's.
Well, it could be both youth
Okay.
and adult. Town-owned land should be put into permanent conservation, permanent conservation preservation, but I said, what about recreation? Like the upper green, lower green, people do use it for recreation, because the upper green is used for baseball. And the lower green, at one point hosted some baseball, and teams go there to practice.
But that's not in the survey like that.
Yeah, question 11, what town actions do you favor to preserve open space? And one is town-owned land should be put into permanent conservation preservation, example of the upper green and lower greens.
It does say examples. Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't know.
Yeah,
I think the more important agenda item, Mark, would be if they are gonna start meeting on a regular basis, are we gonna assign someone to go to the meetings, or,
actually,
I know there's a spot here for them as well.
yeah, because in terms of my belief in the way I've always operated, like the planning sets out the big agenda for the town for everything that's planning. One part of it is the open space aspect of it, and that's the open space of what they do. And then we would sort of fall underneath it. What would that open space, the recreational activities be? So I would suggest, originally it was for somebody from the planning board, but there's only one person on the planning board, that's why it's a designee. Have them come to our meeting, particularly when we're talking about land use issues, so that we are fulfilling what they are asking, because we're not doing as much survey or outreach as open space and planning is. But they're telling us we need more hiking, our survey, so that our job would be to see if it's feasible to implement that. And not for us to go follow what they're doing, because they may be doing so many other things that are not recreation per se. So it would be great if they designated somebody, and they don't even have to be part of the open space committee, to be at our meetings when we are dealing with that kind of issue. Our regular budget stuff isn't as necessary.
They do have a meeting tomorrow night in the Council on Aging space at
Yeah.
7 p.m. if anyone's interested.
So I will forward that information, David, and extend an invitation for a member of their group. It's permit C
I actually might
non-voting.
attend that.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just say out loud, I may attend.
Okay. You may have-
If you want to come early, we're having game night, and there is clam chowder and Caesar salad,
Really?
if you're interested.
Well, those are my two most favorite things ever.
So you can come a little early, have something to eat, stay for your meeting,
Huh?
just saying. The invitation is
The
open.
food is always.
What kind of games?
We have a lot of games. We have a lot of
Catan?
games. That's, we did buy that, if you wanna set it up, because there's lots of pieces to that. But we have
Like that one?
everything. We have Jenga, we have,
What version, I mean, what add-ons
Listen.
do you have?
listen, there's lots of stuff. We have
now, let's get
card
checking the ones
games, we have all kinds of stuff.
Well, I won't be bringing my Jenga.
I'll bring both my pieces.
That's why I said Jenga.
Can we move on to new business?
Yes.
Oh, before we
So,
do new
good.
business, I'm so
Yes.
sorry,
No,
there's
no.
one old piece of
Good.
business that you didn't mention.
What's that?
The water bubbler.
That's
That's
all right.
under new business.
That's under new business, okay.
It's a new year.
Okay, all right, so signage for Central Street recreational and environmental resource area. I keep driving by and seeing the two 4x4s. We initially had bought a sign years ago, but it's only, I think it's only one-sided, so Weatherly wouldn't work for that. I don't know how other people think, but I think that it would be nice to have the Central Street recreational area sign right there, front and center. And I don't know how other people that, I'm throwing that out there.
Yeah, the original sign was like 2,500, both sides, so you come and go. Even though you would have driven past the entrance, if you're coming from the east going west, it's a nice identifier for those.
It's that big tall thing, right?
There are
That's-
two, the idea was, there's one on Central Street, there are metal posts 4x4 that would hold that sign. The idea was to have an identification marker there, so people coming, visiting teams, most of them are coming off the highway, to say,
This is.
here in the
it.
field,
Yeah.
get ready, you're gonna make the turn, versus,
Yeah.
oh, where's the turn, where's the turn? There you are. And then there, at one point, there was supposed to be another signage to give some of the rules. 'Cause the rules that we currently have are only, guidelines are at the entrance of the facility.
Well, yeah, it's on the field, it's on the actual, like, when you
Yeah.
pull into the parking lot, there's those signs.
But let me back up. As you pull into the driveway, there's a telephone pole between the entrance and exits.
Yep,
Right there are the guidelines.
okay.
Problem is, not a good place if you're pulling in to read the guidelines, nor do you want people traveling through the parking lot or stopping there to read the guidelines. So that sign was supposed to come down and get moved to where the fields 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are located, so that there's a big open space for where the signage,
Which it should be.
where people can see the rules,
Yeah, that, which.
guidelines are.
Yep.
Or even move it down to, closer to the field house, so there's ample space for people to see what the expectations are.
So, my thought is, get in touch with DPW and find out if because there's
Yeah.
two 4x4s, to find out if we need two signs, which I think we do, one for the front, one for the back, whether they're the same type of thing. But just something that sets, when you pull up, it says Central Street recreational fields, and people know what it is.
The original sign, not the original sign, the sign that was made to fit there was both sides. It had,
It should be both sides.
what's that?
It should be both.
But it was, you can't, with the 4x4, you can't, because you're gonna,
Oh, can't see it on
yeah,
that
there'll be two poles blocking
Got it.
whatever year. So that's why it needs one on one side and one on the other, one full that will be attached. And so just to talk to them and say, how does this work with you? And then we have an idea that we can say, we can send it out to bid or not send it out to bid, but we can pick a sign making company to,
Get it done.
yeah, get a template, get it done, and have it so that it would be attached there, and wherever they attach it won't affect what they've done as far as,
Mhm.
so.
Yeah,
I
that
don't-
makes sense.
So can I ask a newbie question?
Yeah.
What's the difference between Central Street rec fields and Mantor fields?
The history of that is simple. The property was
We saw
originally,
it coming.
the original property was acquired by the town in, I want to say 2000, as part of the Town of Newbury Recreational Environmental Resource Area. The owner of the land, about 65 acres, lived across the street and wanted to put some fields in there for youth sports, because at the time there wasn't any, and there still aren't any other additional fields other than behind Berry Elementary, which has, at that time, one softball field. In order to bring in more people to purchase the property, I want to say for $1 million.
It was $1 million, $1 million something.
Okay. They wanted to make sure that it wasn't just for youth, fields. So they brought in, and they said, hey, here's an opportunity. That's where the genesis for the canoe launch was, came into, and there's supposed to be a path through the property. There's actually a path between that area, behind the houses on School Street, through Triton property, behind the Caldwell Farms, which there's an easement for, all the way to Govs. Govs was all on board, so that there could be literally a river to river, same river, hiking path. The town purchased the property to do that. They put the fields in, they used the fields. The Recreation Committee back in 2015, I think, or so, wanted to acknowledge the longevity of the prior chairperson, Warren Manter, who also owned the property prior to the town purchasing it. They wanted to acknowledge his participation, and the Recreation Committee said, we want to name the fields after you. They put a proposal before the three individuals at the town, for the town select board at the time, and they voted unanimously to name it Manter Fields, plural, not possessive. So technically it's just a field area, that's what they voted on. The area itself is the Central Street Recreational Resource Area. Now that we're getting more activities involved, there is some rationale to prevent people from getting confused, because the basketball court is not a field, the hiking path is not a field, the playground is not the field. So to make it more inclusive, look at the whole property, because there's birding going on, hiking going on, possibly even some camping in the way back.
So, yeah, so that's basically it. So what we want to do is have a nice big sign up there on left and right hand side, says Central Street, Plainville, so people know that is what it is.
Yeah, my only concern is branding. My question specifically was like, what's the difference? And apparently there's no difference.
You're in the same
So
place.
we need, like, from a let's not get our buses confused perspective, we should have one thing to call it. What it is, like, it could be a
I think
mix.
everyone here calls it the Central Street. People
Yeah.
in town call it
100%.
Some people do.
Some
On the
people don't.
website, it's,
What do you
I
call
think Goop-
It's always been Manter.
Yeah.
It's always been Manters from, I've always called it Manters, all my friends would call it Manters. I have never met a single person outside of this that has called it anything but Manters. So I think just when it comes to, branding, recognizability, Manters, whatever we decide to call it, it's Manter, right? It's Manter Fields. Not
Right,
Manters.
Manter.
Manter
Manter.
Fields.
Okay.
Central Street Recreational.
So-
So
So-
I think
Yeah.
that my thought would be that it is a major area now that we have basketball courts, we have.
It's more than just the fields.
It's more than just the fields, we have hiking trails back there. So, it should be recognized as Central Street Recreational Area. Now, that's just, one voice in the wilderness.
But I think you're correct. But
Google
it
Maps
goes
calls
back
it
to,
Manter.
it's kind of like the garden, right?
Mhm.
The Fleet Center, the garden, Fleet Center, the garden.
Yes,
Little-
TD Gardens.
yes, and if someone wants to
Yeah.
pay us
But it's still,
to,
but it's really Central Street.
This is what it was.
So have the sign up there and
That
maybe
sign's
people start
actually-
calling it
yeah.
that.
That's sort of what I'm saying, it's
And
like, if you're gonna rebrand it, rebrand it.
Yes,
Like,
Because it
but when I
really
put
is-
that in our newsletter, people say, where is that?
We
Is
just back
that
up for a
Manter
second?
Field?
yes, we must
We
back
can
up.
make a suggestion,
We're making suggestions,
but it's ultimately the select board that would make the final determination.
yes.
But this is what was created.
But, and we have that and if we had a sign and the DPW agrees
That's
to
all
it,
for honestly.
that,
No, it's okay.
that,
Yeah,
Just-
see, I was being inclusive,
Okay, yeah,
but that's what I,
Old Minter Field. You can,
yeah, yeah,
I just don't like the two posts being there empty.
yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it's the mini.
Yeah, if that thing works
It's
between two
niches
posts,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah, I just,
Apple Maps calls it Central Street Fields and Google Maps calls it Mantor Field.
yeah, because Apple's a little bit more
It's kind of funny.
up to date. So, if I propose to just have a discussion with DPW about what they would like for a sign, and.
How's that sign down?
What's that?
Why is that down? That's a picture of it.
That's an artist rendition.
Oh, oh.
Yeah, the original
That's
sign
That's an
is,
artist rendition.
at one point was in the field house.
It's still there.
In the
It's
kitchen, I
under the-
think.
Yeah, so anyway, let's have that discussion about, if you guys have any problem with me talking to DPW about what they would need to install a sign there. And,
I think the question is, it needs to go through Tracy first.
Yeah, and the select board, right?
Yeah.
no, I'm not talking about naming it or putting a.
Just what you need to put the sign up.
Yes, I want to do step one, to find out
What do you
whether
need for a
they
sign?
like that idea with a single sign that's sandwiched in between 4 feet or 6 feet or whatever that amount is. And, because I would like to be able to have some kind of, something a little bit different than, two posts sitting and being empty there.
yeah, no, that makes sense.
And I may be kicked out of town soon, but that's what
No,
I'm.
you're not gonna be.
So let's make that initial, if it's okay, I make a motion for me to talk to DPW.
I don't think it needs a motion, just
Okay.
say you're gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it. And, all right, so we will go on with that. Water bubbler. Who do you know anything about the water bubbler?
Well, it's a new fiscal year, we didn't act on initial,
But
We
we're-
appropriated the money for it, and
Yeah, but it kept going back to,
DPW.
Have
So
you
DPW
heard-
would buy it, and
have
then
you
they
heard
would
from
charge.
DPW?
Last thing I heard, they were still, and I think Mark might have heard something, or maybe John had, that they were still looking for a plumber to install. Have anybody
Well,
heard
they were
anything?
supposed to tell us what to buy.
We did.
We got that.
did we purchase it?
No,
No,
we
we did
did,
not.
we are not purchasing, we told them what we wanted, and they were going to go through the process of purchasing and getting a plumber to install it.
And then give the bill to,
And they give it to
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
Okay.
But that has
Not occurred.
not occurred. Well, we have appropriated the money, we haven't secured it by the end of the fiscal year. I think we need to reappropriate those funds.
Right.
Yeah, so have they
Gotten any further?
gotten any further? Otherwise, we'll be in the same position as we were last year, this year,
I will call
which
and
is
find out,
$425.
and I will, and if that's the case, and if they are in the process of doing it or can do it. I know that they were tied up with,
Yeah,
they had
they had stuff going on.
the stuff going to the beach.
The
but it-
bathhouses and stuff, they had a lot of things going on.
Yeah, and if we can get a word on that, then maybe next meeting we can vote on it to approve more, to reapprove funds for our
Correct.
budget.
Yeah.
All right, great.
If you're talking to James, just put it on his radar that they should move that court one more time.
Okay.
It's about 9 inches off now.
Again,
Yeah.
okay.
that just means it's being used.
No, it is. And again, I think it just, he needs to find a day with us, all 14 of them are in the same place, and I've actually gotten smart enough now to pull in the tiles around the base,
Yeah.
so it's not like it's up anymore, and I'm putting the tiles in the box, which is probably,
Perfect.
no, probably I'm damaging the property.
Fiscal year 25 fiscal spending plan.
I'm putting it together. We just need to have two numbers, or actually three numbers confirmed. One is how much DPW is charging for this year.
Okay.
If you could look into that. Same thing with MyRec, how much, because I didn't see it on the end of year.
My rec was $32.95.
32.
$95,
For the full year?
yeah. And that bill came in on March 14th.
$3,200 for subscriber.
$32.95.
More than my rate is.
Yeah,
Okay, and then,
Because that's what-
that's what
that's what I
they're really good
paid.
about, is taking care of us.
okay,
Yeah.
that's the end of the year that we
About
got.
10 hours.
That's the only bill that I got from IRAC for
Okay.
the year.
Yeah, that would have showed up on the,
Should be on the fiscal thing, but
Fiscal
I just printed out what I paid and where it went.
okay, because we kept on getting something from Samuelson, and I'll show it to you, I know you've asked before. If we can get those numbers. we can
No, you
say-
showed it to me, but it was from 22.
But,
Yeah, so I didn't see that in this year,
Okay.
is all that I'm
And,
saying.
Yeah, then
So we're not
the
talking the same
irrigation.
thing.
and I don't
I have
know,
irrigation.
I don't know how the new accountant does it, so that's another question about how they are, because that's, I guess, they just said there's a changeover, and maybe they do it the same way, maybe not, because there has been sort of a shift on how our money's being spent. And John wanted to talk about some spending, right?
Yeah, just 3 minutes. I need some adult supervision here. I went rogue on a comment that someone in this room made, that we need a voice at town hall for recreation. So I started down this path of what do every surrounding town spend on recreation. And I contacted Cassan's office, the state rep, and they were very helpful. But there really isn't a state agency or a report from the state that would list specifically. I'm looking for 2 general ledger chart of account numbers. There's a 620 account, which is recreation, 630 is parks. There is some information at the state level, and it includes the library. So we either take that number and find out the library numbers for the surrounding towns. So anyway, I'm a grown-up, I can do all that stuff. But I tried to find an easy answer, there's no easy answer. And then I get thinking about, am I just wasting my time here? Because Newbury essentially has a $0 budget for recreation, so I'd say we're behind all the other communities. So I've actually got some real numbers from the state here, but it includes the library. Anyway, then I got thinking, all right, well, this is crazy. No one's going to vote to hire a new person in this town, even though that's exactly what we need. Everything we've talked about tonight would be so much easier if there was someone sitting here who was
Staff member.
a staff member.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to be a, $150,000 staff member. So could it be like a part-time person? And then we get to, and if Courtney were here, so this is what's going through my head. And that's why I need, what should I focus on? Because if we said, all right, we can have a self-funded summer program for kids, we'll hire a teacher, so there's no benefits involved, blah, 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 blah. And so maybe I should visit all these other towns and collect their summer programs guides. Hamilton's is 95 pages.
Yeah.
West Newbury's is 2 pages. So it's like, maybe the West Newbury, I think.
A different summer.
What's that?
It's a different summer.
Well, no, but it's
Yeah.
West Newbury, and so I started focusing on, can I find a number, what is West Newbury paying for that person? And it's hard. So I actually sent an email to Eve, our accountant, and said, I don't want you to do anything, but just tell me if I call the West Newbury accountant's office, I want to know this, what are the 3 questions I should ask? And I'll just call all 14 and, give me the 620 account, give me the 640 account. If there's any trust funds or revolving accounts, give me that number. So, and I think this all just points to May 25 town meeting, like, just let's, and if this seems something we shouldn't do, we shouldn't do. But to me, we go into town meeting and say, we'd like to hire a director, here's what everybody else spends, and see what happens. Now, and my flaw probably is maybe if we got Tracy on board, easier.
Yeah.
As opposed, and it gets us over that first hump. And that's my fear at this point, is maybe I'm approaching it wrong. I was just kind of like curious.
Well, I mean, this is a good groundwork to figure out. I'm totally in agreement with that. I've always thought that if there was someone that was full-time that,
Yeah.
We've talked about it.
Yeah, no,
Getting it on a line item, getting it on a budget, getting it
Well, and that's-
in there, so,
so it's like I've come full circle, which is, do we just ask Tracy to meet with us, or can we come in and do whether it has to be just David, or, you know, whatever the mechanic is? Because, I mean, we seem to communicate.
Yeah.
You know, James is very receptive, you know, so it's not like I have a week where no one's backing us up or anything, but it's just like, we got some great ideas, and they kind of hang out there.
Yep.
So,
It can be the impetus for having some program, someone that, you know, answers.
I think that makes town meeting a no-brainer. A, because you get a large constituency of parents that go,
Yep.
and people that would accept it, and the naysayers wouldn't want to spend money. It's like, it's gonna pay for itself.
Yep.
And if I can find that the 14 other communities that do it, the person who works in Kassan's office had actually run before. She was very helpful. And she lives in Boxford.
Yep.
She ran the summer.
Are you talking about Kristen Katzner or something?
Yeah.
Okay,
And the woman who ran before her against Lenny is her chief of staff.
Okay.
So I was working with her, but I was working with her on July 28th, and it's like, we're kind of busy, you know, it's the end of the year. But she's been a volunteer at Boxford. They had like 300 to 400 kids in the program when she was running it, and she stepped
That's
aside.
not Christina, is it?
It is, yeah.
Okay, so she comes to our office once a month.
Does she?
Yeah.
For?
She does constituent services.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So if you need to touch
Yeah,
base.
but actually, when's the next time she comes? Because I'd like to.
Let me look at the calendar.
I just did that.
Did you see it?
I did.
Did you just put it there?
Oh, I have to upload that stuff every time. She's usually on Mondays at 9 AM, but
Okay,
it's once a month. I can double check for you.
thanks.
hopefully it wasn't today.
No, it wasn't.
But from a direction standpoint, everybody nod your head. That's, yeah, okay. I'm not wasting my time.
No.
No, as you said before, you know, nothing can happen until we have a
Conversation.
availability of a line item that goes into
Yeah.
that office. The other question I would ask, if, you know, when you say what their budget is, what's their source of revenue? 'Cause, you know, we are funded through the town. Other towns are, other rec departments are self-funded, so their activities have to match up with what their expenditures are. Some have a combination of, we're gonna give you 100,000, but then everything else.
No, that's where, well, I guess, that's an option, yes.
Well, we need to know where the stream of funding is.
Just from a number standpoint, officially, there's state categories from an accounting
Yeah.
standpoint. There's a category called recreation and culture.
Yeah,
Libraries and recreation culture, local events like parades, et cetera, are in there, and recreation and parks are in there. So the 620s, that 600
I
series,
get it.
Newburyport, 1.6 million.
And is that what's allocated by their
That's
council?
their general fund expenditures
Okay.
for recreation and culture,
Okay.
Which includes the libraries.
which includes the library. So it just, for our numbers, our recreation and culture number is 451,000, believe it or not. And that doesn't include your general fund. 439,000 are the library. And believe it or not, there's $11,000 out there for historic commission,
Yep.
da-da-da-da. So it's really, you know, some kind of, it's accounting, but I was just hoping there was an Office of Recreation
Yeah.
and not culture, you know, that had the numbers. So I'd started with all Essex County, I'm like, well, this is stupid, you know, some of the town meeting's not gonna care about Salem or, you know, Peabody. But, you know, like at Groveland, West Newbury, Georgetown. Georgetown actually has got pretty good numbers. But I think it's almost like you need to get in your car, drive down to town hall and say, I sent you an email.
Yeah, you
Kind of
could
thing.
set up, I mean, I think that if you wanna call up, the town administrator's office and just say, hey, can I have a sit down with Tracy for, she may ask you to do it by Zoom or whatever, but you could just, you know,
Yeah,
give
yeah.
these numbers by, and just find out, if it's a possibility.
Yeah.
And, you know, what her thoughts and concerns are, because I think we have to go through that.
Yeah.
And I know that people they're worried about budgets, but.
Well, not now's the time, but now's
Yeah.
the time to raise your hand.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
Kristen's at our office on September 9th at 9:30.
excellent. Is there coffee?
Always.
Is there someone at the door? By any chance? To
Oh,
greet you?
shh.
Many times.
All right.
I have a little sign there when there is no one.
When there's no one there, you have a
Please
sign.
come in,
Yeah,
see
so,
staff
yeah,
members. We're
yeah.
here.
Which is good,
Yes,
which is good. And
We're
that's-
available.
Yeah, we're always available.
always,
Always.
during our open hours.
Yeah.
We are closed on
I was
Fridays.
very disappointed the door was locked when I came in at 6:15.
Because I was up here.
Actually, you were schlepping the sign around.
Do you hear me dragging it?
Where's the sign going now?
Wherever one of you wants to bring it.
Oh, that's
It's
what I
been in
was
my
afraid of.
office
Yeah.
for,
Can you bring it downstairs, I'll pick it up later?
sure. So,
I'll take it, put it in the field house, but
Yeah, yeah.
I really think I ought to get a piece of plexiglass cut.
Yeah.
Just to,
Yeah.
I think that's the way to go, and then we can put anything in there we want.
2 pieces of plexiglass.
One for each
How
side.
how thick is the,
It's like an 1/8 inch, I think.
yeah, it's not thick.
All right,
just
so,
wanted to
Submit your
make sure
receipts.
the thickness of
Yeah.
it.
yeah, so,
Pay cash. It's easier.
can we, I think we're established a date and time for the next meeting, which would be September. I don't know if you want to do it at the beginning of the month, which would be in two weeks, or
Will it be 2 weeks or 3?
maybe 3 weeks.
It will be
The
the
first
9th.
Monday is Labor Day.
Yeah, we can do the 9th. Anyone have a problem doing Monday the 9th at 6:30?
Quite certain I'm not
That should be fine.
You're out, John?
here. I am out on the 9th.
When are you in?
That should be okay,
Busy
isn't it?
month. Following Monday, 16th works, actually. I don't want to, but don't,
16th work?
What, 16th?
Yeah.
16th would work.
Let me just quickly check. Yeah, 16th, I think.
16th?
We've moved now, we're going to move it for a month.
16th.
That works.
That's fine with me.
Anytime?
6:30?
6:30.
To adjourn.
Hang on one second. I have to make it legit.
That'd be a problem.
I move to adjourn the meeting at 8:15. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's do it.
I seconded it.